Alright, today's video is going to be another revisit, and today we are revisiting Null. So, Null is another very old character on my channel. My first video of him dates back to October, so almost 8 months now, which is absolutely crazy. He's just as old as Iceman on my channel, to be honest. And like Iceman, I am also super happy to play him again, and I just still love the character so much. But before I get into what I want to talk about today, I did hit 1,500 subs I think yesterday, so I'm very happy about that and I'm really grateful. And my 1,500 sub special is going to be coming out on Wednesday or Thursday, so I'm going to have 2 more revisits after this, and then yeah, you're going to see the 1,500 sub special, and I'm very excited for it. But yeah, once again, thank y'all, and now let's get back into the video. So, Null, like I said, I still love the character, and I just want to talk about, he has... Okay, so the difference between Null and Iceman is that Iceman had a rise and a fall, and, a rise again, because he's, a very old character. He's from 2017. Null, we're still, in his, coming of age, I guess, because he is from October 2021. He is a very new character. So there hasn't really been, much to explore with him yet. But I will say, he definitely has his pros and cons. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on today as we, watch this gameplay in the background. By the way, the gameplay plan is Eternity of Pain Blade, a 7.4 path that he does very, very well, and then 2 boss solos, 1 in 7.4, and then the finale is 6.2 Mordo. So, he does all these fights very, very well, and I think they're all, good showcases of what he can do, but I also want to address, the cons of the character. So, for pros, it's obvious, just so much damage output. He has access to a lot of sustainability if you have the recoil masteries, and he still has some sustainability without them as well. And another thing is, he can counter evade, but I wouldn't say it's the best evade counter. So he definitely has a pretty awesome kit, but he does have a lot of problems too. And I feel for me the biggest problem is how badly he needs the recoil masteries. So when Null first came out, the deep dive kind of did him dirty, because I'm 99% sure it was without the recoil masteries. And that's just not how you play Null. You know, you need the masteries. There is no excuse, pretty much. And the people definitely saw the difference once he was officially released, and the content creator program did videos of him with the recoil masteries. And honestly, it was such a big difference to the point where he actually needs them. Playing him without, you not only lose a ton of damage output, but you also lose all of your sustainability too. So that's, you could say it's a pro, you could say it's a con. For me, it's a con because not many newer players have access to those masteries. So if they were to pull this guy as their first 6-star, he will be able to do some stuff, but they will just have a very, very gimped Null because he really wants the recoil masteries. And before I get into some other cons, I just want to showcase this damage real quick versus this blade. It is quite insane. I know I did build up quite a bit for the damage output, but it could have been done faster because he was just being very stingy, and the spamming special ones that he does is very annoying. But see, this damage output is just super good, and I feel Null is a very good counter to this blade because you can just get him down in 1 cycle. You see how he's almost done pretty much. So that's very crazy. It just shows how good his damage output is. I could have done this fight in 2 minutes, but he just took forever with the special attacks and all that. And back to another con of Null. This one isn't really talked about as much, to be honest, but I feel it still needs to be addressed. And it's the fact that he has that really common trope at this point where you trade utility for damage output. This trope seriously needs to stop. I want to make a video about it standalone, because it is so dang annoying how many characters have this thing. So for Null, it's you need to trade your damage output for the ability to counter evade. And the thing with Null is that it's not as like big as some other characters. Like Anti-Venom, they're like so straight up with that. You know, you just trade off your utility for the damage output on the SP2. Like that's very just like straight up. But with Null, it's a bit more like secretive, I guess, because to pause your corruption, you have to use light attacks, right? And if you use a light attack, you can't counter evade. But if you want to counter evade, you have to do medium attacks only. But if you do medium attacks, you can't pause your corruption, so you won't get that much damage output because you'll lose your armor breaks. And like an example of this could be like, let's say you're fighting Can't Touch Spider-Man, you know, Can't Touch the Spider-Man. So he has like that big like uptime on evade, and you need to counter it, right? You would have to just do medium only, and you will lose out on a lot of damage output because you will like lose your corruption, and you will consume your armor breaks because in corruption, if you do a second medium, you have to like consume 3 armor breaks for a degen. So like that's a thing that I really don't like about Null. I would rather just like have him counter evade in corruption, like no matter the attack. So I feel like there are things that they can fix with Null, but I would say overall still his kit is still pretty dang decent. And another thing I want to talk about is his value in like Battlegrounds and like Alliance War and all that. In Alliance War, I would say he is pretty good on defense. On attack, maybe not so much, because with Null, it kind of takes a while to get to his damage output if you're playing an unduped one. If you're playing like a duped one, then 100% he can definitely do a lot of war fights. But it's just like, I wouldn't say he's the best counter for anything is the problem. But in Battlegrounds, I feel like he's a really good defender because it's Null, you know, like Null is one of the banes of my existence on defense. And if he's also high sig, he can be a really good attacker too, because when he's sig 200, he's very fast because you have like, you start with Living Abyss charges, and so you can just SP1 and you'll have so much damage output. And honestly, that brings me to like another pro/con. I don't really view it as a con, but other people can. It's the fact that the difference between an unduped Null and a sig 200 Null is pretty insane, because you just get so much more damage output at the start. Like, I know it can be a con for some players because not everyone wants to invest in a Null like that, you know? But for me, I feel like it's something to work towards too, so I don't mind it at all, to be honest. And that's about all the pros and cons for Null. Like I said, he has a lot of pros, definitely. Like, very good damage output. Very... Like, his evade counter is good at the end of the day. Like, it is good, but it just has its drawbacks, you know? But his sustainability is super good as well. And with the Recoil Masteries, he is just a very solid character. But without him, it's not the same story. But yeah, I'm doing this path in 7.4. He is doing amazing in it. Like, he is destroying this Penny Parker, who is like one of the most annoying defenders in my opinion. And yeah, I have like 2 more fights. Actually, no, I have 1 more fight after this path. And then we have the bosses, which is the 6.2 Mordo. And I think it's a Sabretooth in 7.4. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. That's about all my rant. That's about it for my rant on Null. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. I honestly think I did, because like I can see right now I've been talking for like 9 minutes, but I just have a lot to say about Null, you know? He's one of my favorite characters, so I want to make sure that people understand like my view on him. And I still love the character, don't get me wrong. Like, I love his look, I love his animations, I love his vibe. Yes, I know that me loving his vibe means like I'm an emo kid, but I don't care at this point because he's so dang cool. I love like how edgy he is, to be honest. But yeah, overall, I love Null. He has his problems, but I think he's still a very good character overall. And yeah, that's about it from me.